Hi, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are well. I am Lizzie, if you're not too familiar. Welcome back. If you have been subscribed for a while, it's so nice to see so many of you here. But yeah, welcome to 2024. I'm well aware it's quite into January by the time this goes up and when I'm filming, but December was a crazy month, and you'll see by the title. I will be going through my December books and what I got for Christmas as well, which was mainly books. So I'm going through the main books I got as well. You'll see we've got a little friend here. This is my little mic because I'm recording on my phone, and I don't know what it is, but whenever I use it to record anything, the audio goes a bit radio-y, and it's like it's, I don't know, in a sandstorm. Anyway, I wanted to go through all the books. I've tried to find the best setup I can. We're just making do with what we can. I'm getting a new bed delivered soon, so I'm hoping that'll serve as some nice kind of background in a way. Yeah, I'm just going to dive into all the books I read in December. There weren't many just because, like I said, it was a jam-packed month, end of the year. Oh, it was crazy. So I'm going to go from like worst to best. It was a mixed bunch, and then the books I got for Christmas as well. Or should I do it the other way around? No, we'll go straight into the books I read for Christmas. I've only got two of them with me because the others I think I left in Yorkshire. I went to Yorkshire for Christmas. My family now live up there. So yeah, and as you can see, I have a bookcase that is already overflowing. I do not need any more, but I'll probably get some more. So the stats. In December, I read 5 books, but for 2023, it's a hint for another video I'm going to be filming, but I read upwards of 90 books. Yeah, 90 plus books in 2023. Looking back, that is quite sad, and things are going to change in 2024. I've got different priorities. I read 5 books in December. I've got 2 here. I'm going to start with, I'm really sad that I'm going to say this. It was a 2-star book. I've seen really mixed reviews on this, and then my colleague at work loved this, but I just did not. I DNF'd it nearly so many times. I did finish it. It is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I'm going to sit here so I can put the book right here, but it's by Suzanne Collins, who you may very well know wrote the Hunger Games trilogy. I'm so torn about watching the film after reading this book, because like, similar to another reviewer, it was like, what was the point in this book? I love the original trilogy where it follows Katniss as she goes through the Hunger Games as a contender, but this one, the Ballad one, it follows Coriolanus, or President Snow as we know him in the original 3, when he was younger, I think around the 9th or 10th Hunger Games. He's a mentor, and it kind of goes through what it was like with him growing up. I think he's like 18 or something, and he's a mentor for the Hunger Games very early on. And yeah, I just did not relate to the story. Like I said, I DNF'd this nearly so many times, and the last 30 pages is where everything happens, and even then I was just so annoyed that I'd wasted my time on this book. Coriolanus is a mentor for District 12, the girl Lucy Gray Baird. I did not relate to any of these characters. I'm really gutted that I only gave it 2 stars, but I just, throughout the book I was so frustrated. I could not relate, and yeah, I didn't like the characters. I thought there was no major arc. It kind of happened all at the end, but then it's like, why did this happen? Why did Coriolanus become the way he does? But again, part of me is like, do I want to see the film to see it in action? I don't know. I have nothing more to say about that. I was just really torn about this book, and it's been a while since I've been through a book that I just really didn't like. So yeah, not a good start. Alas, we move on to a physical book that I have with me. It is Hush by Kate Maxwell. I got this in a 66 book haul. I think the first time I went. I'll link it in one of the corners from where I went before, and I go into detail of how it all works. Yeah, I had my eye on this for a while because I'm a massive fan of Emma Gannon. She's like this internet Substacker writer who I love, and she recommended this on her Instagram, and I was like, okay, a lot of the books she writes and then reads I love, so I thought I'd pick this up. It's been sat on my shelf for a while. It follows a woman called Stevie. I think she's from the UK. It's kind of a literary fiction type, and I do not like literary fiction books, but this is more on the cusp of both of them. Yeah, it follows Stevie. She's a single woman who really wants a baby. She was in the UK, then she moved to America, and it kind of like flips back between the UK and the US, and then the relationship she has with her sister. I didn't realise there was actually a twist in this book. I thought it would be one of those literary things where it just kind of like happens at the surface, like you focus on the small things in great detail, whereas like more fiction books is like everything in small detail because it's on to the next thing. But this is actually quite compelling. It did take me a while to like get into it because it does follow, like I said, Stevie, she's single, and she's actually trying for a baby on her own. So she goes back to the UK to have a baby via IVF, and it's like, there's a little clue here, like, what if the thing you most wanted feels nothing like you expected? And this deals with how Stevie is coping with motherhood on her own. So she wanted to do it on her own. She's now got the baby. She takes ages naming her baby boy. And yeah, it just follows her from there, and then seeing the support network around her. And also in America, how the company she's employed by reacts. There's a pretty compelling and startling view of how people react as soon as you're successful, and then you just drop the bombshell oh yeah, I want to have a baby, or I'm having a baby, I'm pregnant. It was okay. I'm glad I read it. I finished it in quick time. And it's nice to see the other side of motherhood when you're not enjoying it and it isn't quite what you expected. And the ending though, like I said, there was a twist I wasn't expecting, and everything neatly ties in a bow at the end where you realise what you thought you'd been told and learned your whole life isn't what it is. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. Oh, and that I gave 3 borderline 4 stars. Okie dokie, next is another book where I actually got an ARC. So if you don't know what an ARC is, it means advanced reader copy. Because I blog a lot, I write about books I enjoyed, or I put them on my Instagram or talk about them on here, I get advanced reader copies and I get them sent to my Kindle that I can read before they come out on the shelves. And that one I'm talking about is The List of Suspicious Things by Jennie Godfrey. I'd seen this talked about everywhere and people saying they really enjoyed it, and the fact, again, Emma Gannon mentions it is set in Yorkshire and it's just really nice and cozy. It follows kind of a Yorkshire Ripper, set in Thatcher times, and it's again set in Yorkshire, but it takes you on a tour. I was like, sign me up, I'm sold. And when I saw that I got approved for it, yes, I was so happy. But this book was like a warm Yorkshire tea and hug in a mug, if that's a thing. And let me tell you, especially as I've got Yorkshire roots and then my family have moved up there as well, I really enjoyed this book. It follows 12-year-old Miv, who's trying to find out who is responsible for the Yorkshire Ripper deaths and killings and everything, all while she's dealing with these other things at home. She's dealing with being a teenager, things going on at her school, things with her best mate Sharon, and then the local boy that moves, all these other things, as she and Sharon work together to create their list of suspicious suspects. We learn she has a pretty unique relationship with her dad, where it's a bit on off and there's the risk of them moving, but then her mum is quite, I don't think aloof is the right word, but something is not right with her. But you do eventually find out why something may have happened for her to be the way she is, and she's just not really in Miv's life. I do like how it does take you around Yorkshire, all the way from, I don't know if it does mention Hull, but it definitely mentions Leeds and Howden to Bradford and all these other places. But yeah, like I said, Yorkshire tea and hug in a mug. I really enjoyed it, and then the whole Yorkshire phrases as well, and then I'll do. All these colloquialisms and I don't know, just phrases, and I like the Yorkshire accent. East Riding, West Yorkshire, it just sends me back home, like my grandma and everything. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I don't like cozy crime, but this is borderline that of thrilling crime and then bordering into cozy crime. So yeah, that is out in February 2024. I can't wait to see people enjoying it as much as I did. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars, I think. But yeah, really good, and from a debut author as well. So yeah, Jennie Godfrey, she is one to watch. The setup may have changed as well because my phone just said I have no memory. So yeah, we're just dealing with that. Next, you may be familiar with, because it's been all over Netflix, but I wanted to read the book before it came out on New Year's Day this year, is Fool Me Once by Harlan Coben. Now, I read the book, it's up north at my family's, and yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It is my first experience with a Harlan Coben book, and I mainly wanted to read it because Michelle Keegan was going to be in the adaptation. Oh, this video is so chaotic. My boyfriend's just got back. So yeah, where was I? Fool Me Once by Harlan Coben. I really enjoyed this. It's a bit far-fetched. It's set in America, so there's loads of guns and everything. Even though it was quite a thriller and it gave me Mission Impossible vibes, I really enjoyed it. It was really compelling. It follows Maya, and she's just come off a funeral, her husband's funeral, and he's been murdered. But a few days later, or I think it might be 2 weeks later, she spots him on the nanny cam. She's just buried him, and she spots him on the nanny cam with their daughter. So it all comes from there as she tries to uncover who murdered him, twists and turns. This guy, he can write, and he leaves you on cliffhanger after cliffhanger. Yeah, the ending, mighty twist, and again, just kind of far-fetched, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I won't lie, I have watched the Netflix series, but I found I was just skipping and skipping and skipping. I don't know what it is. I thought some of the acting in it was quite bad and quite cringy, really, and I don't get all the fuss about it. I can see why people are gripped to the story, but I think because I know and it's changed quite a bit and they add some stuff to it, it doesn't really vibe with how well I thought the book was, because nothing can beat what's in your imagination. So yeah, I liked it. I preferred it way more, the book. I preferred it way much more than the Netflix series. So yeah, great first experience, 4 out of 5, and I'm compelled to read some of the other ones. I've watched the other Netflix ones. I wasn't a fan of those either. And finally, I got this book on a whim. It was my final book of December. I got this up near my family's. It is Love, Rosie by Cecelia Ahern. This is actually published as Where Rainbows End. Didn't realise that, nor did I realise this book is set in Ireland. If you know me and you read my Instagram, my blogs and everything, you will know I love novels that are set in Ireland, and I think she's an Irish author. It makes sense. But let me tell you, similar to the Harlan Coben Fool Me Once book, the books and the films, like this, very different. The film does not do this justice. They change so many characters and everything, but this follows Rosie and Alex from a young age to, I think, into their 50s, and it just is pretty much perfect in every way. It's full of character development. It makes you fall in love with them right from the get-go. And yeah, it's kind of like annoying, they're like passing ships. It gives me One Day and Talking at Night vibes. I love that book so much. That's another hint of my 2023 books that I loved. Talking at Night by Claire Daverley. I love that book, and this reminded me of it. Yeah, the film was quite cringy in some places, like some of the dialogue. But I get, like, it's a film, you're trying to do it justice in like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I love Lily Collins and Sam Claflin, as you can see, who play them. But the book is what just makes it, like, intricacies and everything, and the storyline is so intimately woven, and just like everything in their friendship is like a relationship, and it's just so intimate from there and how it develops. Another thing I was not expecting was the way it's written. It's not informal prose, it's like a mixture of letters and emails and instant messaging to each other. So yeah, I was racing through this book, and it is like, I think like 500 and something pages. Yeah, nearly 600 pages. So I got through this, I forgot I was reading at times. It was like I was reading someone's life or the conversations between the two. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, so much so I gave it 5 out of 5. I raced through this. It's like a real fat watch. Yeah, I love this. They're my books for December, and as I promised I would go through the books I got for Christmas, I got these 7, most of them from my boyfriend because they were requested from me, and a little treat to myself, and then from his family as well. I'm going to go through each of them quickly. If you don't follow me already, I do some posts on TikTok as well, so I've posted these on there if you fancy a quick scroll as well. As you'll hear, I got Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This I have had on my to-be-read list, wish list for a long time. I loved Penance by Eliza Clark. I got that in hardback, I think in August, and I read it less than a week. It was so compelling, and one of the best books I read in 2023. And yeah, I've heard really good things about this. Currently, I think there's a West End stage play on, so we'll see what the fuss about that it all is. But yeah, this sounds really odd, quite peculiar, quite dark. Everything I expect from Eliza Clark. That rhymed. I did not mean for it to, but yeah, I look forward to reading this. I mean, just look. It looks pretty insane, so yeah, we'll see what that's about. Second one, I requested this on my work Secret Santa, and I got it. It was None of This Is Serious by Catherine Prasifka. I have not heard of this person before, nor have I heard much about this book. I've seen it on some Instagram pages, like here and there, but I know it's set in Ireland, Dublin, student life. I love normal people, I love Irish novels, as I've already said, so yeah, I don't know what to expect from this. I think it's just like, students have graduated, one of them's waiting for life to happen, they're a bit stuck. I kind of get the feeling, so yeah, I look forward to diving in that one, and it's really short as well. I think it's less than 300 pages. Yes, 200 and something pages. Nice one. Next one is a bit of an obscure one, but I loved Stardust by Neil Gaiman. And this is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. This again was on my wish list. I gave it to my boyfriend and he ticked off a few from there. And yeah, this was on one of them, and I'm glad he got me this cover because the latest one is like a bit YA and not really my vibe, but this, it just sounds really like fantasy-like, and it's set, how do I describe it? It's like fantasy, an underground world set underneath London. And then I've also read the foreword as well. Neil Gaiman was writing this alongside, or literally after, the BBC adaptation that was going on, and saying to the director, like, oh, it's okay, we'll take it out, I'll put it in a book. And because he said it so many times, the director was like, if I hear that one more time, everything that was meant to be in the BBC drama is pretty much in here. So yeah, I look forward to reading that. I can say that about all of them. I've looked forward to reading these for a lot of the time. They've been on my wish list, and I've got physical copies. I have no excuse to just leave them on the shelf. It's very cool. This next one was a little treat to myself. I saw it in the Waterstones sale, but this has been on my wish list for a while. Oh my gosh, I feel like a broken record here, but it is Okay Days by Jennie Mustard. Again, seen this all over BookTok, TikTok, everything. Yeah, and it seems my sort of vibe. Follows Swedish Sam, and she's on a work placement in London, and over the course of 3 months she falls hard for a man called Lucas, and it follows her throughout that. It looks very cool, and like kind of like the vibe I would go down. So yeah, I've heard good things. positive reviews. We'll see if I can fit this in this half of the year. I don't know. I have another 3 hardbacks, and if you know me, I am not a hardback girl. I prefer paperbacks, but this is In Memoriam by Alice Winn. I had been umming and ahhing when I saw this in Waterstones all the time, but now it's been, I think it was the winner of the debut fiction prize. It seems like one of those ones where it could be, it looks daunting at first, but the further you get into it, I feel you could like forget that you're reading and you're in this world, especially as it's between 2 gay people, and I think it's World War I and they're lovers, and if you know the atrocities that happened, I think it's about what happens when one of them goes to war and stuff. So I expect to be pretty heartbroken, and there must have been a reason why it won a prize. I need to get ready for this one. Second to last one. This I would never in a million years have wanted to pick this up. It's only since the recent Booker Prize winner shortlist came out, and I saw the speech of the guy who won. It is Paul Lynch's Prophet Song. It's set in Ireland. Do I have to say it again? I don't know what it was about his speech that I saw. I saw it on Instagram quick, and rarely do I stop and listen or watch like speeches online. But this, I think because I'm trying to write a novel myself, he spoke about the process where it was just so transcending, the speech, and saying how some novels just have to be written, and he felt this was one of them. And this has been categorized into, I think, like sci-fi and thriller, so a very unique take. I have no clue what to expect, but I've just seen this just everywhere since then. So yeah, it's one. I'm not normally a fan of prizes like this, like literary fiction types, but I've had a quick look and it looks like it could be a good story. I'll update you. And finally is no surprise, and it is a big old chunk. I don't think I'm even ashamed to admit this is on my Christmas list as well. Iron Flame. Yeah, you could hate me, you may click off this video by now, by Rebecca Yarros. I'm torn over Fourth Wing. I gave that 4 out of 5. I read that last year. It took me a while to get through and get into, because it wasn't quite giving me the same vibes as the Sarah J Maas ACOTAR series. Dragons, romance, romantasy, those kinds of things. But yeah, I like the first one. I jumped on the bandwagon, so I'm keen to jump on this big Bible bandwagon and see what happens between Violet and Xaden. And is it Dane? Is that his name? Yeah, I need to remind myself what happens, but this is like another 100 pages built on the previous one. We'll see when I get to this. I'm not in a massive rush, so that's a big boy. My final parting words are, if you haven't watched Saltburn, what are you doing? I saw it in the cinema on my own in December, and oh my gosh, yeah, it is effed up, but all for the right reasons, for good viewing, entertainment. And ever since then, it's on Amazon Prime at the minute, by the way. If you haven't watched it, just don't watch it with your parents. I can't stop thinking about that film. I love everything about it. I love the soundtrack. I won't stop listening to it. I won't stop singing Sophie Ellis-Bextor. I love that song. Everyone else is late to it. And I also cannot stop watching videos with Emerald Fennell, who's the director. I could watch her do videos on every single scene in Saltburn forever. I love that woman. I think that's my December roundup and all the books I got for Christmas. I think I'll leave it there. Yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe. It'd be great to have you here. Yeah, if you like this, I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.